I have mentioned about Nyota. I mentioned about social program empowerment. I've mentioned about 4,000 internship program in the housing sector. I have now mentioned about the government advertising in Public Service Commission paid internship. There is higher education reduces, yesterday, higher education reduces school fees, yesterday, and actually it was in your news, higher education reduced school fees. It means, therefore, that actually students now in our universities, they will get quality access to education because government is a listening, and His Excellency is a listening president. And now you can see, and actually I saw it in your headline this morning, that there is relief in universities because government has listened to the cries of Kenyans and has reduced school fees. There is an upcoming international youth conference in Kakamega happening this month of August. I encourage each and every panelist who is here to attend that event, International Youth Conference, so that you can be able to learn and get to know the structures that the government has put in place for this kind of empowerment. Today, the lack of information and misinformation is affecting our young people. We like lamenting for the things that are not true, to look popular, and not to, you know, for example, me, I am a CEO of Zero Barefoot Campaign. I've been doing this kind of empowerment since 2023, where we go to communities, we empower communities through giving them shoes. This is something that I can do in my own capacity by writing proposals, getting money, and empowering a community. Ask yourself, what are you doing as a young person to solve the problem facing your community? Africa has a lot of challenges. Kenya has a lot of challenges. Your community has a lot of challenges. Today, if you go to the constituency where my brother comes from, or my sister, who wants to become the member of parliament, and I wish her the best of luck so that she can be able to change that constituency, better that constituency. What are you doing in your capacity? Which kind of empowerment are you doing? When we talk about empowerment, let's not critique what the government is doing or the other person is doing or the deputy president is doing. What are you doing in your own capacity? Okay. This kind of empowerment is what should propel us. I have heard my brother Martinez strongly talk about what the government is not doing. But we need to now shift the conversation to what are we doing as young people, advocate for this kind of empowerment and push our country forward.
Right. Just a question for him.
Quick question, all of you have reactions.
In fact, I wanted to ask my good friend here. He has spoken about some sustainable development projects, the sustainable programs that the government has undertaken, and actually want to help him.
Yes.
Just so that he knows that I've been following closely. You have forgotten about the NAFCDP.
I have also forgotten about...
listen,
I have also forgotten about the Nairobi River Commission.
It's okay, it's okay.
Which is employing over 200,000 young people.
It's okay.
Let him finish.
The question is this.
Yes.
If you combine the NAFCDP, which is partially part of the World Bank, so yes, the credit actually goes to the World Bank, it's just facilitated by the government. Ukichanganya pesa, the NAFCDP, Nyota program, and which is the other program undertaken by the Department of Youth and Sports. Those are the two main. The internship. Yes. I am very sure the total amount of the money vested in that, the three programs, does not equal to the amount of money that's dished out as cash. And also the main question I'd ask him, the government raises this money. How sure? Because all money from the government is supposed to be accountable. If you give money today in a platform, political platform, just 12 million cash, chukua MP, how are you going to account for that money? If the MP decides to give people 1 million...
Okay. It is a question, so I have a right of reply.
Yes, you'll respond. Let Ayodi also ask you the questions. Then
and then I can respond.
Mine is responding to him, not a question.
Okay.
So, first of all, I want to get something clear before I give misinformation. You said there is 6,000 stipend for how many youth? 820,000?
820,000.
So when you do that mathematics, you get something around 4.9 billion.
Yes.
So in the budget read by CS Mbadi, or is it personal funds, 4.9?
No, this fund is from World Bank. It's a program done by the World Bank, facilitated by the government.
Yes.
So, like my brother said, it's a World Bank facilitated by government.
Okay.
And it is work of government to facilitate this kind of program through World Bank.
That's correct.
Okay.
So you see, one thing that is Kiprono is doing, same to his boss, when we come to the camera, we give out the best of what we actually want to do. But when you go to implementation, that's not correct. For example, the president in June, around 10th, in one of the churches in Nairobi said, through the Kazi Maju program, you know it?
Yeah.
He said that the last 2 years, we have employed 400,000 youths to the different parts of the world. So when you do that mathematics, 2 years is around 700 days. When you calculate 4,000 times 700 days, you get like per day, 500 youth are being employed. When you take the Kenya Airways Boeing 787,
Outrageous.
you see that its carrying capacity is 204 people.
Outrageous.
So the president told us that per day, 2 KQs full of people, the 500 people, that means it's 2 KQs. Yeah?
No.
Okay, I'm just using it as an example.
You don't have to go through KQ.
Exactly, but I'm using it as an example. So it means that every day, 2 KQs or whichever the plane they use, leave JKIA to different parts of the world with 500 people, 500 youths to get employed in a different part of the world. Is it really making sense?
We have funded.
I think I like the way he has shifted the conversation around the programs that the government is running.
Yes.
But most of these successful programs that he has mentioned about, unfortunately, majority of them are not funded by the Kenyan government. We have to ask, where are our taxes going in terms of empowerment? The youth are working, they're paying taxes in terms of pay as you earn, VAT. Where is the Kenyan taxpayer money going in terms of empowerment? Second, you've all talked about the statistics, but we should also remember that every year, around 800,000 youth are churned out of different institutions, going into the labor market or going into various sectors of this economy. Is the economy empowered enough to accommodate them? So we may be doing a lot of internships, a lot of Nyota programs. After 18 months, is the economy working to actually enable these youths set up a business and the business to thrive? Is the public sector or the private sector empowered enough to accommodate these youths? We are having very many journalists graduating. Is the environment around media and journalism good enough? We are seeing a lot of media stations closing down. Is the environment good enough to accommodate these journalists? Okay. So at the end of the day, it is the structures that you're saying, but I think the government can do more in terms of investing the taxpayer money, not depending on World Bank, and actually making it scientific. We are having a case whereby he's saying that the education, health, whatever, what have you. But we have to remember that right now, the government is still sending youth to do education as a degree. Yet we have a whole 1,000 of teachers who are unemployed, despite the government even accommodating 70,000 in the past 2 years. So what is this intentional, scientific, research-driven policy
I think
that the government is doing?
Yeah, you will.
Okay.
But
Yes.
Makotsi, you're one of the people who mentioned you yourself and Martinez. You're the ones who confessed that you are one of the supporters of the president, current president,
Yes.
William Samoei Ruto.
Then-
What really disappointed?
2022.
Yes.
I'll
I
come
think-
to you so that
Let's be guided.
you also tell us why.
Actually, all of us here must have voted him.
Even
I think
All of you supported
Yes.
him.
Yes,
What-
actually, he was very, he seemed,
very
Okay,
convincing.
so let's
he appeared like he can do
what
this job.
disappointed you the most?
I think
2 years down
the
line?
William Ruto we saw on the campaign trail gave us a lot of hope and a lot of promise.
Yes.
But the William Ruto we see in State House is a different kind of guy.
That's
He's the guy
exact
who
opposite.
will tell
He's
you
organized.
in July last year that we are going to cut the number of advisors, we are going to stop the harambes, we are going to stop the empowerment programs, but 1 year down the line, things are changing. I think he changed along the way, he lost the focus, and I think we need to rethink about his, I think one term is real.
And that's where I was going now with this conversation. So if your vehicle is spoiled, do you buy another one or do you fix it?
You fix it.
It depends with the extent of
Fixing it might be.
Part of the fixing is getting him out. We are not getting the government out.
But it
we are
depends-
getting
The
the
driver.
president out.
Okay.
Yes.
And he says that it needs to be centered on agendas. Yes,
Yes,
Martinez, you also one of the
Trevor,
first to supporting. Yeah.
forever I will forgive myself for believing that the President Ruto can do this job. You see, when we were in campaign,
You know, Trevor,
Let him finish.
no, let me finish.
They were all supporters.
you know,
So
you need
let's
also
hear-
to know.
No. Let's hear what their disappointment
No.
are and what they suggest as.
My good friend, what's his name?
Kiprono.
Kiprono. I think I am very guided on the language I'm using. I said I will forever forgive myself for thinking President Ruto can do what he said he will do in the campaign period. See, when we were in the campaign period, that's what I told you at the very start of this conversation, that ideally and naturally, people would tend to believe that following your best candidate, that was then Governor Lenku. I'm a very stone supporter of Governor Lenku. His president was President, he was Baba, alikuwa Azimio. But then I took a personal decision to support President Ruto because I went through his manifesto. I also liked his energy when he was in campaign. He was too ambitious and he had very, very, very beautiful plans for this country. But what happened along the way? First thing, the government led by him grew arrogance and opulence. And that, in that session, in that period, they would not listen to anyone. Number two, this government says this and does this. They say A and they do B. They preach wine and they administer different thing.
Trevor.
The reason I said
let
that.
him finish.
Let me finish.
I'll come to you, Vic.
Let me finish.
Just write it down.
You see, we were very close. We were closely following what the president was saying during his campaign. But and for your information, everything President Ruto criticized when he was in campaign
did exactly that.
He is doing what exactly he was criticizing.
Yes.
I don't know how karma is faithful, but that is what I have to say. Everything Ruto criticized is what he is doing right now. Right from the killing squad to the economy criticizing taxes increment, to go to youth empowerment programs, like everything he criticized. That is what he's doing today. I don't know whether that is what will happen to those who are criticizing the government right now when they will be in power, because it seems like there's a systematic corruption in this country that will need a lot of devotion and commitment to root it out.
Okay.
The problem with our friends who are running the government right now, and I think I have not been answered that question by him. Yes. One, how are we going to account for this money that is getting lost, 12 million? Because I can say it is getting lost, because if you give someone money that is not extracted from any vote book, I don't think you can account for it. Okay. Number two, is this program anchored on matters in terms of rule of law and constitution?
No, it's okay. Farida still has something to say before you come back.
In terms of constitution, in terms of the rule of law and constitutionalism, is the program anchored in law? Because the reason I said the president does not know the weight of the office he holds, according to me, unless disputed, the president and the deputy, who are the head of a nation, any step they take, any word they utter, should be guided and informed by the Constitution of Kenya.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will be a blatant and utter disrespect and disobedience to the very Constitution that you sought to uphold and protect.
Okay.
For the government to give money and the president to go against his words of austerity measures and does not implement all the policies that are in the Department of Youth and Sports.
Okay, Farida.
Okay, I voted for the president, and I did it so passionately and very intentionally. If anybody told me that President Ruto is not going to lead this nation, I really wouldn't be okay with that person. But what I've learned that he did, and I blame the Kenyan voter, he played on our emotions. He knew what to say, he knew when to say it, and he knew the things that sell. So look at me as an ambitious Kenyan, or no, let me be a Mama Mboga. And now I have a president that has centered his campaign around me. He made me feel important. He made me feel like he's going to really take care of my needs. But this is what I would like to tell the Kenyan voter. We have a social contract with the government. Si tafadhali. We are not begging the government to help us as the youth. We are not asking for help, by the way. The government owes it to us. We are paying tax. This is our blood, our sweat, and our tears. The least he can do is create the right environment for us. Kutuambia that we need to go and do kazi majuu is really just I don't even know how to put it, because the reason why we are taking our workforce to these nations is because these nations have created the right environment for our workforce to get at least a decent pay for our labor. The Kenyan youth is not lazy. The Kenyan youth is not unqualified. So don't give me a stipend. Leave that for the old person who is beyond retirement, who was not doing, like they were not within the workforce, so they are not eligible for
Pension.
For pension. But give a young person with the power and the ability and the willingness to work a stipend. Really, government, can I just say shame on you? Or maybe no, let me keep it respectful. So this mentality of handouts is the problem that we have as a nation. And I don't know how KIP is going to justify this. But the government is not creating jobs, and the jobs that have been created are not being, the youths are not being given the right opportunity, in the very least, to compete for these jobs. So if you give us a stipend of 6,000, what is 6,000 supposed to give? Look at the cost of living. At least can you give us favorable terms, like, let us work for these things. We're not even asking for handouts. Give me a job. Pay me well. You know, utilize my taxes well. Don't overcharge me. Let me see where my money is going.
Okay. We'll talk about the politics in just a short while. But Victor, let me bring you in on this end so that you give your response. But it's also important to mention that you're not speaking for government. You're not a duty bearer. It's just a difference of opinion with your fellow. So let's hear.
I think it is. Thank you for clarifying. I am of an opinion that government is delivering on its mandate, but I am not directly mandated to speak for
the government.
But I am advocating for what government is doing.
And they were once on your side, by the way, just for the record.
Yes. They were once on my side. And my job today is to try to convince them to come to the side of government and support this administration. Back to track and back to what government is doing. I think I have had my panelists, and what my panelists are facing today is like a girlfriend getting to a relationship over expectation. You know, this is a girlfriend coming to a relationship expecting flowers, gifts, everything good. And then as a boyfriend, once you get to that relationship, you say, look, my girlfriend, let's sit down and work with my budget. You see, when you're trying to convince your girlfriend, I'll use this context. You'll even say, you know, I have imported my car, but it will take 6 months for my car to arrive. And then you take the 6 months to convince your girlfriend to stay with you. You understand? Every person, every president across the world.
That's what the president is doing.
Are campaigning, every president, even when Obama, when Biden, when Trump were campaigning, they try to convince the voter to vote for them. And then when you are voted in, now you try to implement the plan. And the problem that we are facing with the Kenyan voter is that they are not giving President Ruto time to implement the plan. It is 2 years after the elections. This is like a girlfriend who is over-expected, expecting a lot
has been
from this boyfriend.
For 14 years.
Now, let me respond. Let me respond to my panelist.
Yes, it is a question of accountability.
There is a question of accountability.
It's been governed for 23 years. Not true.
Martinez, I request that Martinez can become so that I can answer his question. In accountability, the accountability question, this, my friend, is saying 12 million is being lost. I'd like to correct him. That 12 million is not lost. This 12 million is going to youth groups, women groups, mama mbogas, border borders, down there at the grassroots. And let me tell you, Trevor, what we discuss on TV is not what is on the ground. Things on the ground are different. Today, if you go to a village in Nyakach, it is not what we are discussing here. There are women groups in Nyakach today who need that 40, 50,000 to empower them. That money is not going to waste. That money is going to those youth groups, women group down there. That 12 million that you are calling it Martinez is not actually, at the end of the day, that money is still in the economy.
The question is...
It's still, can you keep your cool? I am answering your question. So the 12 million is not getting lost. It is still in the economy. Number two, we've talked about our leaders being accountable. And I've mentioned this time and again that unemployment is not a Kenyan crisis. It is a world crisis. It is an African crisis, and it's a Kenyan crisis. Every day, young people graduate from universities, tertiary colleges, and you don't expect a government to do miracles. You don't expect President William Ruto to sit in State House and perform some miracles of 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread, and immediately we have 5,000 jobs. It has to be a structure. And the president is being deliberate in creating youth employment. He has a plan. Today, I am so proud that my president is sitting in State House and creating employment for young people in housing, in Nairobi River Commission, in the works, in climate works, in Kasim Tani, in even this program that you go abroad. You know, the problem with Kenyans is we expect too much in a president who just came to office 2 years. You know, William Ruto is dealing with an employment crisis.
For record, 3 years.
Since independence. This employment crisis didn't start in 2022. This employment crisis were here during Kenyatta time, during Moi time, during Kibaki time, during Uhuru time, during President William Ruto. But you see, the burden bearer is William Ruto because he's the president. He's carrying the burden of Kenyans and unemployment, which is happening right now. It doesn't mean that this unemployment started yesterday. It's a problem that we inherited as a country. And president has a plan to improve the kind of livelihoods young people, women, and he has a plan for it. To finalize young people today in my panelist. I don't want you to be over-expectant. You need to become realistic.
You need us to manage expectations.
You need to become realistic.
Respond to that.
You know why? You know why? Trevor Ombija, today, if your father, for example, comes home with a loaf of bread, and tomorrow he will tell you, my son, I don't have money, but tunaweza kula muogo, ama tunaweza kunywa chai, kesho nitakunulia mkate. It doesn't mean that your father doesn't want to perform his duties as a father. But your father is telling you, can we work with what we have, and can we work hard as a family so that tomorrow we can have a better life? What President Ruto is saying is, young people, can we work with this plan that I am giving you as Kenyans, and progressively we will be there as a country. You don't expect the president to perform miracles and employ everybody.
Use his words.
You cannot expect the president to employ everybody. Okay. You cannot expect the president to give money to mama. Everybody has to manage his expenses.
Is it the president? Okay. Let me help him about the president. The president says, let's live within our means. Isn't it what he said? But where is Farouk getting 1 million every weekend?
Okay. You know, president is not Farouk.
That's not him. That's a different person.
That's a different person. President is not Farouk.
There's something here that I want us to talk about going forward. You've all said that you've seen the political spaces and what you are told is not what has been achieved.
Okay.
How will that change going into the election in 2027? Because we can already see the teams organizing. In fact, they're already battle lines. There's government, there's opposition. Where do the young people fit so that the next election, they don't lament the same way they're lamenting? What have you learned over time? That's the conversation.
What we have learned from those groupings and since we knew politics, because some of us knew it maybe when we got 18 years and above. So what happens is this. All these people are same group. It's only that when I differ with Kiprono, maybe I was in the same party, I differ with my friend here. When I go out there, my friend maybe becomes the president, I'll start seeing him. I'll actually be pointing out to his negatives, forgetting that I was with him. So the solution here going forward is not to count on those people recycling the same people. We as youth are the highest number of voters in this country, but what we do is we go back to our tribal lines when it comes to elections. How do we expect change to occur if we do that? For example, when I'm from Vihiga County, you don't expect a person, let's say Trevor. If Trevor comes to Vihiga County to vie as a governor, it's unlikely that we'll be voted. Why? Because we are not part of Vihiga. So if we continue reasoning this way, then where will change come from? Secondly, one thing we believe that William Ruto is bad is first is corruption, maybe deception and other things. So when we go back to the grouping of even the opposition and those other presidential aspirants we already have at the moment, at one time or the other they were serving in different capacities in government, and some of them have those cases of corruption or they have been linked to something else. So if our problem with Ruto is corruption, then why are we going back to again these people have had also corruption issues? So the problem here is us recycling people as if we do not have other qualified people. So as youth going forward, we need to stand up for these positions, go for that MCA, go for the member of parliament, go for governor. If you are 35 and above years old and you have a degree as the constitution requires, go for that presidential ambition. And let's just convince one another to vote for each other.
But will you get support realistically?
The problem now, we are the problem here, because we will not support our own youth, but we'll go to our tribesmen back, because we say now this is mtu wetu bana, wanataka kumtoa. So that is the problem that may take years and centuries to change unless we the youth decide that we cannot be divided on tribal lines, whereby I can go and vie maybe in Central Amaluya and I'm being elected as a governor. You can come and vie maybe where in Uasin Gishu you get elected. But do you think we can get to that point anytime soon?
It will take us time.
Exactly. So that's the problem we have as a country. And in as much as anyone can come with good stories, I'll do this, I'll construct roads, I'll give you education, or I'll give you jobs. When they get to power, that theme changes. Let me use an example of a governor. You see, a governor might have good thoughts for his or her county, but when they get to office, he wants to implement strict measures. Some of the MCAs will start to oppose until they're given some handouts. So the moment you start doing that, you are not going to do anything meaningful. At the end of the day, the counties get very little money, 8 billion, 6 billion, and you find that maybe out of this 8 billion, for example, in my Viga County, you get that maybe 4 billion or 4.5 goes to
recurrent
salaries, recurrent, exactly. So you realize that maybe other 2 billion you need to pay for maybe the contract that were not paid in the previous regime. So you end up with around 2 billion that you need to work for. So when you say now, I want to check the books and see who are these ghost workers whereby our bills are too high. So when you go to that position, you realize that the former MC has his 4 people, 3 people still in the, who are the ghost workers in the county. Maybe an MP in that county has his or her own ghost workers there. So when you start attacking them, you are likely to be impeached. That's where impeachment comes in. So what I'm trying to say here is for us to change, it's us used to decide that this has to stop, and the politics of being given something so that you support someone should stop.
Okay. Makotsi, we're now holding the mirror to ourselves as young people. What should change going forward? Because the president himself has said that I've heard people saying 1 term, 2 term, but what is the agenda? But apart from that, what is the agenda for the young people, and what should they think of going into 2027 now that some of you say that you are deceived?
I think I want to sell hope in as much as we, being a Kenyan youth, is among, I can say, 1,000 ways to die in this country. But I want to sell hope. I want to recognize the good work that young people who are elected in parliament, who are elected in Senate, and who are elected in the member of county assembly, they are pretty good young guys who are doing amazing job. And through a network of Kenya Young Parliamentarians Association, we have seen that we can only be a good representation of ourselves. That if we elect a youth, he can think youth. He can think about our problems. And that is why we are having very progressive senators like Eddie Oketch fronting the Creative Economy Bill, which is going to actually open up the creative space for people to monetize it and young people to monetize it through TikTok and what have you. So young people must step up and go for this position. That is first. Second, the old generation, people older than us, must trust us because they were also trusted to be in the positions they are in. His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi became a cabinet secretary at age 29. William Ruto was one of the youngest guys in KANU, having control of the KANU government. They trusted him in positions of influence. So in as much as young people are going for political position, I think it is also in our right to demand that people like Kip here, who can articulate issues and can listen to divergent views, they also need to be in positions where they can listen to fellow youth and actually make decisions that are pro-youth. So it goes a long way in us standing up to get elected and us fighting for those appointive positions. Just to juxtapose, in this government, I am not seeing any youthful face in cabinet. Our IT cabinet secretary is fairly old. And there is a matter of competency and there is a matter of experience. William Kabogo is experienced, but he's not a competent cabinet secretary in IT. When he meets the young cabinet secretary in Rwanda, which conversation on AI can William Kabogo hold with that young cabinet secretary in Rwanda? So young people must be given a chance in every level of this government. I think that's my position.
Okay. Martinez, we're holding the mirror to ourselves as young people. Yes. What do you do going forward now? Because even, let's face reality, okay? So there's those who say 1 term, there's those who say 2 terms.
Yes.
The same people say 1 term. We're once on this other side.
Yes.
So are they truly an alternative? Or are we heading to a situation where we'll sit here again in 2028 and say that we were deceived?
We'll be recycling.
Trevor, don't say some people. Just say you was. Because I actually was in the Ruto's campaign team.
Yeah.
It's actually funny to imagine that. The rate of things, the rate at which things are happening in this country. But let me say something about politics. Also in this space of politics, I have a feeling that it is not always about age. Trevor, I believe there are old people who have integrity. True? There are also young people. It's not necessarily that a qualification that when you are young, you can give good governance. For your information, these positions of power and governance and influence will need you to have a test. You need to have stood a test of time and other position. Like I would imagine, you cannot get someone from the blues and make him a president. You have not seen him how he would behave when he was an MCA, how he had behaved when he was an MP, how he had behaved when he was a governor. Like you cannot just get someone from nowhere and bring him into a position of public trust, because the damage might be too big to manage. So I have a feeling that in these positions of public trust, it is not always, Trevor, about age.
Yeah.
I believe there are old men there who have integrity, who have good character, who can lead the country well. It does not necessarily have to be a young person. In as much as we are trying to look at space or to create a space for the young people, we also want to acknowledge that there are young people who are very, very compromised, very has very crooked characters. I don't know if I should point out examples, but let me not mention them. But you know, when we were in this 2024, the anti-government protest bill protest, that campaign, wakati tulikuwa hiyo maandamano, there were youth who came out strongly as critics of the government. Just within a very short time, they have been compromised. Does it mean that all the youth can lead? No. We have also seen MPs who are youthful, and they are in government, and they are in parliament, and they are useless. Young MPs.
Yeah.
So it's not always about age.
Okay, but
it's
what is
about
the strategy
character.
for young people?
But for youth,
yeah, because you're the majority.
Because youth forms a big chunk of the society that we live today. I understand that the Kenyan population is structured in a way that youth are around 63%. We can take up these positions. And my only request and appeal to these youth, please, you can be voted. But once you are there, don't behave like others.
Okay. All right, let me
you can be voted. I am very sure that you can vie for an MCA, you get. You can vie for an MP, you get. Even youth can be elected governors. In fact, we have youth governors. How old is Sang? 40?
And this is second term.
He's barely 38.
43 now.
He's still a young person.
No,
this is his
not 38,
second time.
He's 42 now, but he was first elected when he was 38.
No.
He's 10 years. He's now serving. He's serving his second
senator.
term.
Yes. So I believe even the youth can get this governorship position. But the question is not about the age.
It's about the...
But let me also make this appeal. I've said it. Please, if we get these positions, if you fight for an MP and you get it, don't go and behave like them.
Okay.
Yes.
Let me bring in Farida on this. Farida, what is the strategy for young people going forward? Because we are heading into another election cycle. If the young people don't prepare, we are still going to lament the same way we're lamenting. Because when you look at even the political leadership, are you seeing anything new? Or is it just a game of musical chairs? You were once on this side, now you're on this side.
What I would say, I have seen more youths coming up for, or rather saying they're going to vie in 2027. even myself, I'll be going for Member of Parliament, Gishogo, in 2027. But when I go to the people of Gishogo, I will not go tell them to elect me because I'm a young person. Because being a young person is really not a leadership. It's not a quality, a leadership quality.
Yeah.
What I would ask them to look at, I would ask for them to look at my servant leadership. I will ask that they look at my understanding of the role that I'm going for. Because if I'm saying I'm going to be a Member of Parliament, it means I'm seeking to be their representative in the National Assembly. So I also have to really understand what that takes. Do I have the capacity? We are not too young to lead, really. As much as we are not qualified because we are young, we are also not supposed to be despised or disqualified because we are young. We have forums such as the one that I sit in, the Interparties Youth Forum, which is a forum that convince various youths from different political parties, because we've seen more and more youths joining political parties. We've seen more and more youths seeking to join political parties. We are working in schools, and the reason why we're doing that is because we want to put ourselves in a position to school ourselves, and we are examining this system as it is, because what we are going through is actually a thing that is put together by the system. It is a system, and it is time for a generational conspiracy. The youths of 1980 and 1990, they failed us as a nation. They did not pass the baton. They are actually still trying to fight so fiercely to keep their positions, not because they've been giving us value, but because they don't want to let go of these positions. So we've been put in a position where it's almost as though we have to let them allow us to lead. So we are calling on those in our generation to really come out and vote, because we have so many in our generation that have not really seen the importance of voting, and not just to come out and vote for one of their own, which is really, it's good, it would be good if they did that, but also to come out and vote for the leaders they want to see in office. We are calling out on the youth to come and take up representative politics. But now the problem that we're facing is, again, the campaign financing it's ridiculous. Somebody of my age, and the budget that I'm supposed, they say it's 70 million, 30 million for a youth to contend for various elected.
Hasn't that been made worse by the handouts that you have to give?
The handouts.
If it was basic that you just needed to transport yourself there, speak about your policies and leave, you wouldn't need the 70 million. So again, it's
handouts
the
and
mirror to the people.
Exactly.
We have a problem.
Again, who decide.
We have a serious problem
So
as
that
a
was
nation.
the young person who has money from crooked ways will outrun you in Gishugu simply
As long as
Because they have
voters,
because they have the money.
And you see,
What does that say about the people?
Trevor, and what
the
voters?
unfortunate thing about
Poverty
if I
index.
spend money
Yeah.
to vote, then when I get into power, I might have to end up being a corrupt person,
Exactly.
because now I'll have to
Get back
try
your
and
money.
Get back my
your
like
money,
a return
exactly.
on the investment.
that's what
Yeah.
budgeted.
So it's
Trevor.
a cycle. And then they know, since I got elected because I gave these people money, I will keep my seat again by giving them handouts, money that is not really going to change. So, like, you expect me as a member of parliament to come for barriers and give you money. You expect me to pay your child's school fees. You're not even asking about how I'm managing the NGCDF. You'll expect me to, you know, it's an entire system. Everything ends and begins with tokenism.
Okay. Victor, what is the strategy for young people going forward? Then I'll come to feedback and give you each just a minute for closing remarks, because we're running
Thank you
out
so
of
much,
time.
Trevor.
Yes.
And listening to the young people, I am so inspired. But also, I have a disclaimer.
Your doubts.
That Martinez has really gone through a lot. Listening to Martinez, I think he has really gone through a lot.
Actually, I have something to say about
Can I?
Yes,
I think Martinez has really gone through a lot in the to an extent that Martinez doesn't believe in the young people. I
agree with you for the first time.
I have had Martinez talk, and I got so much agitated that he doesn't believe in the young people leading. Today, in this panelist, Alfred just came from Mandela, Washington, a program. This guy just landed from the US in a program that is guided by the vision of the young people and empowering young leaders to take a position not only in Kenya, but globally. My sister here, Farida, is running for a member of parliament position to change his community. Martinez is here sitting today. It is not about age. A lot of English, which doesn't even...
I think we agree with him.
It doesn't matter to me. It is us, the young people, to come out and take up this leadership position. Today, when I was a student leader, Fikirini Jacobs was a student leader in Pwani University.
Yes.
When I was a student leader here in Nairobi, Today, Fikrini Jacob is the PS Youth Affairs. I am proud of Fikrini Jacobs. I had a conversation with him yesterday, and I told him, when I go to his office, I tell him, comrade, Puana PS, I am so happy that today you are the PS. He's 28, he's actually my age. He's 28 years of age, and he's the PS. And you can hear him talk with a lot of zeal, zest, and gusto to lead the young people. At 28 years old, Fikrini doesn't have anything to say that he has performed as an MC, as an MP, but he's the best PS that we have today. A young person in the panel is telling us that we can have a disaster when we don't know your track record or what you're calling it. I want to tell the young people of this country that it is not about the track record that comes when you are a leader. Leaders are born. I believe that leadership comes from God, and the Bible guides us that leaders were even made in their mother's womb. If you're made to be a leader, you don't have to have a track record. You can be even a leader in your mother's womb. So I believe that if you are meant, my sister, to become a member of parliament, even if you are 17 years of age, you can become the best member of parliament. If, my brother, you want to go for that position, you go for it. Today, I want to encourage the young people of this country that let us take up position of leadership and let us go for it. Nobody, I believe that nobody was born with attack that member of parliament, Soy constituency, senator was in Gishu County. Today, if I decide to run for senate in Gishu County, I will jump in and do my campaigns to advocate for the young people, for the women, and for the old, knowing that I am a young person who is coming to seek for an opportunity to lead, because I have a conviction within me that I can lead. As young people, because, you know, the problems that we are facing today in our country is the more things change, the more they remain the same. Because we keep lamenting and we don't become the change that we wish from others. If we wish change from President William Ruto and we are not ready to step up to be the change that we wish, then we will have the same problems. Because we've had people who are tribal chiefs. Today, the former deputy president is calling his community to camp around him in a tribal cocoon, and he's telling this community that I'll become your Messiah and I will deliver you in Canaan if you believe in me. This is the same person who was in power 2 years ago. What did he do 2 years ago that he wants to do in the next 3 years? As young people, we should be focused. We should not be cheated. And we should remain on track and lead this country forward.
Great. Let's just see some feedback.
One minute.
There's a lot that is coming.
Just
I'll come for you, Martinez. I'll come to you in just a bit. Let's bring in some feedback, then I'll give each and every one of you just a minute for closing remarks. Say that one thing that is burning, and I'll start with Ayodi there. Leonard Masike says everything about the so-called empowerment is flawed. Worse still, it's being spearheaded by the deputy president. This is nothing but a veiled campaign. The government should instead focus on fixing education, healthcare, and creating an enabling environment for livelihoods. Women and youth are capable of empowering themselves when the system works. Frank Rinde says Kenya's youth make up 75% of the population, yet they are consistently sidelined in decision-making, funding, and opportunities. Billions are allocated every year, but only a select few benefit. What we need is genuine inclusion, access, mentorship, and a seat at the table, not handouts or PR stunts. Empowerment without action is just propaganda. Mark says, Trevor, this so-called empowerment system is just a money cycle. Give it out today, take it back tomorrow through high taxes and levies. These leaders don't have the interest of Kenyans in their hearts. Nixon says, dear youth, it's your duty to say no to government deception. But beyond resistance, use your voice and your ideas to shape the future. Keep proposing solutions on how to grow this nation and how you intend to lead it when your time comes. Okelo Mwalimu says, as long as political chieftains thrive in ethnic voter mobilization continues, Kenyan youth will never have a unified voice. Those aligned with the Ruto-Raila Axis see empowerment drives as God-sent, while Rigiji loyalists and other Kenyans view them as blatant voter bribery tools. Frank Orinde says, why does youth empowerment in Kenya always sound great on paper but fail in reality? Billions pledged, endless summits, same frustrations. When will we stop the slogans and start real support? Kelvin, 1 minute closing remark. Say that the one thing that is...
One thing I want to encourage my fellow youth is if you are not a registered voter, go and register to be a voter. If you do not have an ID, please go and take it, because every time I go to Duma centers, I see a lot of IDs. You go and take those IDs, and then when you are voting next time, please let's not vote with emotions, because I know of a member of parliament who have been working well. When you see go to their constituency. For example, Kikuyu constituency, there are many roads, bursaries people are getting. But the reason why we, the youth, will not want to vote for that person is because maybe of an opinion. So as youth, let's not be going for opinions. Let's be going for working, because we want our taxes to work. Again, when we are trying to check after these leaders, let's all be fair, because we'll find that a presidential candidate I'm supporting, I'll be looking only for his positives, and a presidential candidate I'm not supporting, I'll be looking for his negative. So let's be fair. Let's look for both sides, negatives and positives. Okay. And whoever with minimal negatives, we can select them.
Put that on.
And let's go for the office, those offices.
Makoti, 1 minute.
I think my closing remarks is inspired spiritually and philosophically. Spiritually, in Matthew 5:13, okay. You are the salt of the world. I want to speak to young people that you are the salt of this country. You are the people who bring taste in this country, and at all levels. Young people like Babu Owino, Senator Eddie, the umbrella of Kenya Young Parliamentarians. We people who are not elected are looking at you. And the people who are not elected, and we have a platform such as this, there are other youth in universities and colleges who are trying to come up and be like us. They're looking at us. Yeah. So we should really be the salt of the world and spice up the current leadership.
All right.
Thank you.
Martinez, 1 minute.
Yes, Trevor, thank you. I would say one thing. First, by the way, when we were starting the conversation, my brother here said, you can criticize the government, but if you are not giving your alternatives, what you need, what you think the government would need to do, you are not helping. Yes. But we have outlined a lot of possible avenues that the government can deploy strategies to empower people. Create good policies about employment. We have some people who are exploiting youth in these companies, especially kwa hii kazi ya mikono. Watu wanalipwa 9,000. What is 9,000 and you're working for a company for 30 days? Others are giving contract for 1 month. What is 1 month or 3? Like there's no proper policies. And if there's no implementation. There's also fostering matters on empowerment, the entrepreneurship. You can channel money through registered bodies like Uwezo, Youth Enterprise Fund, and such, even in the county level. Yeah. There's also education. If you give people education, they will be empowered. Okay. And manufacturing, the government should develop manufacturing companies that is a way of empowering youth. Okay. Finally, I'm just giving a small thoughts on how the government can empower people
very briefly,
sustainably.
Time. Yes.
On matters politics, let me close by saying this. I didn't actually say, my friend, that I don't have faith in youth.
You don't have?
I do. The likes of Babu Owino, Ndindi Nyoro, and every other young parliamentarian who has done marvelous in their constituency.
Believe in Lenko.
No, you're running out of time.
Keep cool.
30 seconds.
But also, the reason we are saying it's not about age, I honestly didn't want to come into a situation I would want to mention names. But the likes of Kiari, who are forcing us the finance bill down our throat. Are they old people?
Okay.
They are not.
Understood.
The likes of Makore, those people tulikuwa na wao kwa maandamano kidogo kidogo, they've joined the government, we are fighting. What is that? Are they old people?
Okay.
So
that's fine.
The only reason I had reservation about age is because also I believe there are people who have kept their character clean and they can lead this country, but I have not discouraged the youth. I believe in youth. I'm a youth leader. I've advocated for youth.
Yes.
Youth to go for elective posts in my own county, Kajiado County. Nimeambia youth wasimame kwa hizi position. Na nimeambia serikali ipe youth nafasi zao.
Thank you. Farida, closing remarks.
Yes, it's time for a generational conspiracy.
Yes.
It is time for the millennials and the Gen Zs to rise to the occasion and take up these leadership positions. But we also have to do it in a way that we're very careful not to turn this ageism into another tribalism. We go for quality leadership. Let's look for what this person believes in and what they stand for beyond what they say. And let us keep away from being emotionalized in the voting process, because 4 or 5 years is a very long time to be stuck with a government that will go to an extent of allowing that the young people are killed. So we're not too young to lead. Also for you as a voter, your future is at stake. Go beyond handouts and start looking at issue-based politics. Let us mature as a democracy and let us mature as a people. And that is the only way we are going to have a better country for ourselves and our children.
All right, Victor, closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Trevor. And finally, I'd like to tell my young people today to also continue managing their expectations, because William Ruto is going nowhere. And William Ruto will be re-elected in 2027, not because he's William Ruto, but because he has a plan, and he has done so much for the country. He has a plan for youth employment, he has a plan for women, he has a plan for education, he has a plan for agriculture. We have this, I come from agriculture-rich region. We have a good plan for agriculture. He has a good plan for security, and William Ruto is not going anywhere. Manage your expectation. More. You can now start managing your expectation so that you cannot receive those shocks again in 2028. Because I can see some friends like Martinez now. You will have to be admitted. 2028, you need to manage your expectation, because in 2022.